Hey everyone, Quincy here with Already One Media. Just want to first say breaking news. One of the things about this media channel is we not only talk about current events, but we also talk about how it relates with leadership and how you can learn from different situations to change your life and actually apply those principles. So if you're gonna root for your favorite sports team, like for me, I'm a Colorado Buffs fan. Lived in Colorado about 12 years before I moved out here to Florida. You got to know that how can this apply to my life? What I want to talk to you really quickly is Mr. Julian Juju Lewis has just committed to Coach Prime in Colorado. Now, why is this a big deal? And why does this have to do? What does that have to do with leadership and how that applies to your life? When you're talking about Coach Prime, Shedeur Sanders, he is a case study. And in my opinion, if you're smart and in business schools, they should be studying for years and years to come. He is a case study of how you can build something from scratch, how to overcome adversity, how to keep your swag and keep it moving, all those different things you want to talk about. He is all those things. But let me give you a little context here. First thing is this. When you're a leader, you got to know this. You can't feed your ego and your family at the same time. Coach Prime is trying to replace his son, who is the current quarterback of the CU Buffs. And his son, Shedeur, he is a first round pick, probably first quarterback taken in the draft this year, period. He probably be the first quarterback taken in the draft, maybe Cam Ward. But in my opinion, Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in college football, period, bar none, case closed. He's just awesome. But that's his son, right? And he brought his son with him over from Jackson State when he transferred over from Jackson State. You know, Deion coach at Jackson State, had very, very successful run there, 2 SWAC championships back to back, 2 coach of the years in the SWAC back to back. He had all those different things going for him. When he brought in his son, he knew he was clearly, this is the guy. A lot of people have speculated that Coach Prime, literally after his sons leave, he has really what he considers 3 sons. He has his real sons, actually, which is Shedeur Sanders and Shedeur Sanders. And he also has Travis Hunter, who he considers his other son as well, adopted son. And which is pretty fantastic. He treats all his kids like sons, but those were his sons that actually followed him over to actually play football for him. Okay, he has another daughter as well who's very successful. He also has 2 sons that actually shoot videos for him, who have two great channels, which is awesome. I think one is called Well Off Media, and one is called Reach the People Media. So if you want updates, want to see things on the team, want to just updates like that, I highly recommend those 2 platforms. You come to my platform if you want to learn how to win with that information, get updates, but also how to apply it to your life in a leadership perspective. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, I talked about breaking news, Juju Lewis coming to Colorado. Why is this a big deal? Well, I mentioned just a few minutes ago that you can't, as a leader, feed your ego and your family at the same time. What does that mean? Well, this gentleman coming over to Colorado wasn't just Deion. It wasn't just him and his recruiting. It was, first of all, his staff. He has a phenomenal staff recruiting, but he also has other Colorado alumni who's helping in this situation. A lot of people don't know that. For example, Kordell Stewart, former NFL Steelers quarterback, great quarterback, former CU Buffs. I think he actually is in the CU Buffs Hall of Fame as a quarterback as well. He is, and he should be. Great CU Buffs quarterback. He actually, knew Juju when he was coming up in the ranks as a high school player. Juju actually looked at Kordell Stewart as his prototype. In fact, Juju wears number 10. And so, as Coach Prime has been recruiting Juju Lewis, he's also had Kordell Stewart in the background helping him. He's also had Juju Lewis loves to film. He's filming a documentary about himself. He's coming through the platform. Guess what? His last name is McKnight, I believe. He's actually connected to the Colorado program. And so, Juju Lewis is coming over here in a team effort led by the leader, Coach Prime, who understands I can't be everything to everyone. I have to be a leader who knows how to lead. And that's the difference between a leader and a manager. A manager would be like, oh, gotta be me, every detail. A leader says, hey, I'm gonna lead you. I'm gonna put the platform in place. I'm gonna put everything in place, but I'm gonna let my folks, my staff, if you will, do their jobs, right? But I'm gonna oversee it. I'm gonna hold them accountable, right? But I'm gonna let them do their jobs to be extremely successful. And that's what he's done here. Juju Lewis is a big deal for the future of the Colorado program. A lot of people have speculated that Deion wouldn't be coaching in Colorado after this year, that he'll be trying to go become a Dallas Cowboy head coach, and all those other rumors, which is pretty crazy. I believe, in my opinion, based on what I've seen with him, Coach Prime, and I don't know him personally, No one knows the future, but I believe he truly is planning on staying in Colorado to truly build that program up to a level that it's never been. I think he wants to make Colorado, when he leaves, like a powerhouse. I believe he could see himself leaving after a couple national championships, is what he said, and he wants to retire, with a statue or something with his hat on I believe he said on a white horse in an interview. I'm not exactly sure if he said that, but I'm pretty sure something like that. And so that's what Coach Prime wants to accomplish, and I believe him as a leader and who he is. But getting this pick, Juju Lewis, is huge because everyone was concerned, like, well, with Shedeur Sanders leaving and all these other talented folks leaving, just like any other sport, the quarterback is key. The quarterback is a key to any football team. If your quarterback is good, you have a chance to win every game. If your quarterback is bad, it's 50-50. And they want an heir apparent. Well, it appears that they've chosen Juju Lewis as heir apparent. Now, Juju Lewis is a very young man. I believe he's only 17 years old, and he is a 5-star recruit. Now, a lot of organizations might say he's only a 4-star, and the reason why you might see that is because he reclassified. He was supposed to come out in the year 2026. He decided to reclassify and come out in 2025, which is pretty awesome. So because he's a year younger, some places decide, he should be a 4-star. Well, he's a 5-star. He was a 5-star before, and in my opinion, he'll still be a 5-star. And does that stuff really matter? No. When it comes to playing football, especially for Coach Prime, he literally has a walk-on currently starting on the offensive line. So he doesn't care what star you are. It's how you play later on down the road, okay? But in this perspective, Juju Lewis is a 5-star recruit. And if you ever get a chance to see 24/7 Sports, they can kind of talk to you about that and all that kind of stuff about stars and what that kind of stuff happens and how they rank them. And it's kind of crazy how they do those rankings. And I guarantee you, if you look at history, Shedeur Sanders was only a 4-star, which is crazy to me. Look at how great he is. I mean, if he wasn't a 5-star, then who is? So who knows? I think what matters is how he plays here. But having that heir apparent, having a gentleman like that, what it's going to do for the Colorado program, it's going to allow those folks to recruit even better. Colorado has a phenomenal philosophy. They believe, and I believe what is called 40-40-20, I believe is what they call it, where their goal is to have a significant amount of their players coming from the portal, but also maybe about 20% coming from the high school ranks. Well, for Colorado Buffaloes, if they recruit you as a high school football player, that means they plan on you playing right away, or at least competing and play right away, which is pretty different. Most programs, what they'll do is they'll recruit as many players as they can, and most of them won't even play for 2 years. Well, if you think about it, it kind of limits your opportunities, and it could set your career back. It can also help your career, right? It's worked for years, but I think times have changed, and a lot of young kids, especially with NIL, when that kind of stuff, they want to make money fast, and you really can't blame them. They want to get to that league and get it going. When you come to Colorado and the CU Buffs program, what he's building, what Coach Prime has said, is that his goal is to make it a setup where you can come out and play immediately as a freshman. Well, there's other freshmen he's trying to recruit. He's trying to recruit Carday Smith. He's trying to recruit, who's an offensive tackle right now. He's trying to recruit other players from IMG Academy, which I'm here in Florida. They're they're in Bradenton in Florida. They are like one of the top, high school academies out there when it comes to recruiting players to play in the college level. Okay, a lot of those folks also end up in the NFL. So his goal is to recruit those top tier 4 or 5-star players that can start right away. He has Jordan Seaton. He got last year as a 5-star recruit. Of course, before that, he got Travis Hunter. He got Cormani McLean, who did transfer, but still another 5-star, caliber player. And what happens is when you get those caliber players who can start immediately, you lock them in. They're probably not going to transfer unless something crazy happens, right? And they're probably going to stick around. Cormani McLean did transfer. However, he had his own personal issues. He didn't necessarily fit in the culture, but I believe that gentleman will turn his life around, and I believe he'll end up being an NFL superstar in the future. I believe he'll end up being a great player at the University of Florida, and he'll end up turning his life around. And it's unfortunate he left Coach Prime. I think he had a wonderful career, but, people make their own decisions they make. And you got to remember, it's the choices you make, not the chances you take that determines your destiny, and that's important. Now, how does it affect you in your life? How does Juju Lewis, I said Juju Smith, as a NFL receiver named Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't know why this came to my mind, but Julian Lewis, Juju Lewis, right, who just committed to Colorado. How does that affect your life? Well, number one, foundation. You got to look at, as you're building your current now, like literally right now, Colorado is in the midst of trying to win a Big 12 championship. If they win their next 2 games, they have an opportunity to play for the Big 12 championship. If they win that game, they literally can get in a college football playoff in Deion Sanders' second year. Just think about that for once. His second year coaching. His first year, in 2021, the Colorado Buffaloes were 1-11. All right? Before he got to 1-11. Not only that, their average victory, their average loss, if you will, they were getting beat by teams, I believe, if I remember correctly, 30, 39 points. I remember, I'm a Buffs fan now. So I was like, I stopped watching, literally. I think I stopped watching after week 4 or 5. Like, I can't handle this. I just, college football, what's college football? What's that? What would that mean? I didn't even watch. It was so crazy. Then, of course, we got Coach Prime, all the fanfare, that kind of thing. Well, in 1 year, he flipped the roster, controversially, but he knew the roster was pretty bad. And in 1 year, he improved us to 4-8. But not just improved us to 4-8, then we only started losing by about 7 points, as opposed to 30 points the year before. What does that mean? Progress. In your life, when you're making changes and you're trying to increase your foundation, it's not going to be necessarily look like it's overnight. In fact, if you look at just his record, he had a losing record, but you got to see the progress. He saw what he was doing. He has this thing as we coming. You're coming in your life right now. Okay. And those changes you're making, whether it's financially, whether it's physically, whether it's emotionally, whether it's spiritually, which in my opinion is the most important thing you have, all those different things, your changes you're making to make your life better, it doesn't look like it's happening right now, but it will happen for you, okay? So that foundation is number 1. Number 2, you got to walk and chew gum at the same time. He's literally trying to win that Big 12 championship, but literally at the same time, he has to build for the future. So what is he doing? Recruiting. What is he doing? Flipping 5-star recruits. Julian Lewis was committed to USC since August of 2023. You got to remember, when a guy says he's going to commit, they're young, so, you got to watch these high school kids. They change their mind like we change our underwear, right? But when they commit, that means they're committed. That means they're saying, I'm going to go to your school. I'm going to, on signing day, I'm going to sign up with you, right? It's a big deal. They had to turn him around. And Lincoln Riley, who's the head coach at USC, he's known as a QB whisperer. So that was a tough decision, I'm sure, for Juju and his family to make that decision, okay? But you got to be able to think, when you're walking and chewing gum at the same time, and you look from Coach Prime perspective, we got to win now, but we also have to do the future. Juju Lewis may not start next year as a freshman. He might. And that's why you bring in a 5-star like this. He might. He is a great possibility. But I'm sure Coach Prime's probably bringing a transfer and going to have a little bit of competition because the guy's only 17 years old. I mean, I don't even know if he'll be able to vote when he starts next year, when he starts school. I'm not sure. Maybe he'll be 18. I'm not 100% sure because he's leaving a year early, right? On his birthday and that kind of stuff. And so, it takes a little maturity. There's a learning curve here, okay? But whatever the case is, he is building a future. This is a 3 to 4 year development. By the time Juju is a sophomore, junior, or senior, I promise you, this guy has potential to be like a Shedeur Sanders type. Shedeur Sanders is one of one. This gentleman is also one of one. They both have different skills. Juju is a little shorter than him, but I believe he's a little more mobile than him than Shedeur is. He seems to be a little more athletic. They both have one great thing in common. They're both very accurate throwers, which I love. I think if you can just get that bomb in there, right in that spot, something about that just makes me, it's an art form. I used to be a huge Peyton Manning fan and a huge Tony Dungy fan and all that kind of stuff. I used to watch, the Colts play a lot, and it's awesome when you can see that quarterback who can get that ball in there. Peyton Manning never had a big arm either. So Juju's going to have his challenges because he's a little shorter and that kind of stuff. So it's going to be important for Coach Prime to build a phenomenal, offensive line around him, to build a different system. He has, with his current, offensive coordinator and current defense coordinator, 2 NFL caliber coordinators. So I feel like they can build a great team around Juju, which is awesome. But it's going to take some work. It's going to be a different type of offense, in my opinion. I bet you next year there'll be a lot more running, like real true commitment to the run, as opposed to this year. This year they're running the ball a little better than last year, but next year they're going to probably have to get to that 200-yard, in my opinion, game, or 150 yards every game, 200-yard mark to really be successful in the Big 12. But for your life, those 2 principles. Number 1, set that foundation, right? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. It may not look like you're making progress, but you are making progress. And Coach Prime can show you that right now on what he's doing in Colorado. Number 2, in life, you got to walk and chew gum at the same time, right? You got to be able to, hit now, pay your bills now. You got to do what you got to do, but you may have to build that business on the side. You may have to go out and make that, and soon that side business will be your full-time business. You may have to make different choices in your life, okay? Other thing I mentioned earlier with Coach Prime is that you can't feed your ego and your family at the same time. I promise you, I'm sure more will come on in the future. Coach Prime did not recruit this kid by himself, okay? He's Coach Prime is great. Everyone loves Coach Prime. He's the greatest cornerback to ever live, period. Actually, in my opinion, one of the greatest athletes because he's also a pretty good baseball player. Just saying. I also heard he was a great basketball player as well. So he's probably one of the greatest athletes to ever exist. But one of the things that he doesn't get credit for, in my opinion, is his work ethic, Coach Prime, and the things he used to do watching video and tape of his competitors and that kind of stuff. I think that matters. And I believe Juju coming to a team with someone like Coach Prime as an example, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. How great can this kid really be? And I believe he can be awesome. So breaking news, Julian Lewis has committed to Coach Prime in Colorado. But again, like I said, you got to remember how that applies to your life as well, right? Build a great foundation, number one. Number two, you got to walk and chew gum at the same time. That's what you can learn from the situation here with Coach Prime. And so, guys, I'm done. Just want to give you a quick video here during the day while we got a little time. The breaking news when Juju just announced on Pat McAfee's show. So if you get a chance to watch that video, go watch it. But again, learn from these scenarios. If you're going to be a great sports fan, whatever you do in your life, don't just be a sports fan. Use that to build your life to the next level. Because I want you to remember this, as always, like I always say, you've already won. And when you know you've already won, nothing matters. So thank you guys. Have a great day.